Alex and Lindsey, just two quick comments. I believe they're practical solutions to taking a lot of the leverage out of the hands of the globalists. One, I would like people to research HHO gas and how they're making conversion kits to make your car run off water. It's a hydrogen, basically, fuel cell that separates...
Yeah, well, it's a supplement. It will get you more gas mileage if it's the right unit.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the second one, practical solution to taking power out of the globalist hands is go down the street, talk to your neighbors, try to get just 3 to 5 of your neighbors on your block to start growing vegetables. Not the same kind that you grow, because you don't all want to be eating the same things, but if anything happens, it's like insurance. Yeah,
begin acting like normal humans. You know, ants save food for the winter. Grasshoppers don't. We all know what happens to grasshoppers. They die. The ants don't die in the winter. Great point. I appreciate your call. Randy, Christian, Chris, and others, I'll get to you before our next guest joins us. But Lindsey, I want to thank you for spending time with us. We will talk to you again in the very near future as things accelerate, as this quickening expands. But you always thank me for having you on the show, and you're so gracious and polite and appreciative. We want to say we appreciate you, Lindsey, and thank you for coming on the broadcast. We want to thank you.
God bless, Alex. Have a great day.
You too. We'll be right back with a bunch of news, your phone calls, then Wayne Madsen, who's getting death threats. Stay with us.
Over the last year, Alex has told you about, and many of you have experienced, emergencies and disasters in unprecedented numbers. People have had to literally run for their lives. Folks, this is Steve Shank with eFoods Direct. I'm not here to scare you, but when disaster strikes, you won't have time to think. You must act automatically. What does a pilot do when the helicopter engine fails in flight? No time to think, just act automatically. When the alert is broadcast, the alarm sounds, or the knock comes on your door, you'll need to be ready to act without thinking of what to do or what you need. You need a 5-day extreme emergency kit. With serious supplies and real food to secure 2 adults for 5 days, this powerful $300 extreme emergency kit is free with an order of at least $995 from eFoods Direct. Go to efoodsdirect.com/Alex or call 800-409-5633. That's efoodsdirect.com/Alex. 800-409-5633.
You may be arrested and/or subject to other police action.
Tyranny is here. The grim future foretold in 1984 has become reality.
It really says that the state is God.
The United States is now recognized globally as one of the most oppressive police states on earth. This film conclusively proves the existence of a secret network of FEMA camps, now being expanded nationwide. This documentary exposes how the continuity of government program has established an all-powerful shadow state. Police State 4 chronicles the sickening depths to which our republic has fallen. Prepare to enter the secretive world of emergency dictatorship. Body scanners, sound cannons, citizen spies, stage terror, and cameras on every street corner. It's only the beginning of the New World Order's hellish plan. The police state isn't coming. It's here. Secure your copy today at Infowars.com or see it online in the highest quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
When you're out on the road, the last place you want to be is on the road. But if the unfortunate happens, you'll be glad you were wearing diamond gussets.
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch, guarantee you love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
We turn jeans inside out. Diamond gusset jeans, made in the USA with unparalleled quality. Our Defender motorcycle jeans combine gusset comfort with Kevlar protection, so you can ride all day with confidence. Order yours at gusset.com. Diamond gusset jeans got it, others don't.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
All right, Wayne Madsen is an investigative journalist who's written for the Washington Post, you name it, formerly with the National Security Agency. He spent months off and on, the last 6 months in Chicago, investigating all the mob connections to Obama. And he's got a report out that He's getting threats and may even leave the country. Headline, White House threats must be taken seriously. It's up on Infowars.com. He'll be joining us coming up in about 25 minutes from now. I'm going to get to some of your calls, but also some other important news. Now, we did over 60 Google bombs. Every one of them became the #1 search term. And that was 60 different events. Sometimes we would do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms in a row would be #1 through #3, #1 through #5. Google changed their algorithm to, quote, target alternative media sites and content farms like DrudgeReport.com, Infowars.com. And we did see some traffic issues, but we're growing so fast, we're still growing despite that, but it did take some of our steam out of us. Now I've done 3 or 4 Google bombs in the last month. I've slowed down on them just because I don't want to wear it out. It's such an effective tool. And we've done, I guess, 3 or 4 of them, and a couple of them didn't work. Like the Max Kaiser one last week didn't work. So we need to do a test today with a very simple term to see if they're blocking my name or if they're blocking the algorithm, the system with their algorithm. You go to the Google search box, you put Alex Jones in, and you hit enter. Then you go and click the cursor in the middle of Alex Jones to make it a new search. You don't have to re-enter the whole name, just click on it, and then hit enter again. And do that about 50 times. And the power of this audience, millions of listeners, it will be #1 if... Now, the good news is, even though they've been obviously manipulating it, one day when we failed last week, the show re-aired on History Channel about Bohemian Grove, so it went to #1. People were organically searching that. So already our terms, our videos, our stories, liberty issues, they're already routinely in the top 10 search terms. And they've released yearly numbers, that Alex Jones, Infowars.com is always in the top 50 or so. This last year was in the top 10. Naturally on its own. So they're not going to stop us, but they're trying to slow us down. So search the term Alex Jones. Also search 6, just the number, don't spell it out, 6-year-old groped. 6-year-old groped. And it'll probably be the top term or top search. They have 2 different systems. But let's get that out to expose the 6-year-old. And speaking of that, we played part of the newscast earlier where we now find out more of what happened than just what somebody in line about to be searched with his children. You hear those children saying, I don't want him to touch me. I don't want him to do that to my clothes. I mean, think of little kids, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 7, 8, 9-year-olds. Think about your children. I mean, my children are, pretty outgoing, but sometimes I'll take them to a public event or something, and they kind of, with a big crowd of people, grab my leg, and people say, hi there, little girl, hi there, little boy, and they kind of, that's a normal instinct for a child to not like strangers right away so that they don't get kidnapped. I mean, it's a good instinct. It's kind of like a puppy. You've had a puppy for a month. It's real rambunctious and happy. When the repairman comes over to fix the refrigerator, the puppy hides between your legs. That's a normal mammal instinct. So you're at a checkpoint. There's people in uniforms. I've seen them at TSA in Houston screaming at people, yelling, freaking out when the lines get too long. You're being yelled at. You get put in a machine. Mommy can't be in there with you. It's hitting you with radiation. Then they take you out. On top of it, people say, well, just do the scan. You won't do the search. They're doing both, folks. That was always the plan. Then, for 2 minutes, she sticks her hand down the girl's pants, grabs her buttocks, runs her fingers through her hair. I mean, this is incredible. People 10 years ago, if a cop randomly pulled you over and started doing this to your kid, most people would get violent. They're training you that the government can get in your space and force vaccines on you, take blood tests. They take your baby's blood at birth. That's now declassified and admitted. This is the criminal nature of these people. So I wanted to cut to a piece that is in the article up on Infowars.com. We have the quote in the article, parents threatened by TSA before 6-year-old was groped. Girl then broke down in tears. And when you read down here, here's the transcript. Initially, she was just confused, Todd Drexel said, the doctor. After she broke down crying because she really didn't understand what she'd done wrong. And then kids also they asked Michelle here in my office when it happened, Mommy, I thought strangers aren't supposed to touch me, much less touch me on my privates. Think about Jesse Ventura. Ron Paul, they do it to everybody. And if you don't like it, they throw you out and then give you an $11,000 fine. And now they're going to be on the streets of America. They go on to say they did ask for alternatives. I asked for her to be rescanned. They just refused and said they were going to do what they were going to do. Selena Drexel said, adding the TSA supervisor made it clear in a nonverbal way, bowing up, that there would be trouble. 90% of communication is nonverbal. If the parents caused a fuss and refused, and that was a quote, to allow the pat-down to be completed. It's not a pat-down, it's a groping. I've had district attorneys on saying it's illegal, it's criminal. Well, start indicting these people. And there are a bunch of states, now 9 states, passing laws, on the verge of passing laws, saying they're going to have the state police come arrest your butt. You understand that? The cops aren't above the law. I'm not above the law. Barack Obama isn't above the law. And these TSA people under Homeland Security power grab, you're not above the law. So let's play the clip of this upstanding, good-looking couple, doctor, his wife, his children. I mean, you know, if they can do it to these people, they can do it to anybody. And that's who they target. They're training Americans who'd never be in police contact to be basically prisoners. Here it is from ABC News this morning.
What was your little girl's
off camera?
Thank you. What was your was Anna's reaction as this was happening and afterwards?
Well, I think initially she was just confused, but she's very respectable adult. That yes, ma'am, did what she was asked to do. And afterward, she broke down with crying because she really didn't understand what she'd done wrong. And so we were really struggling with how do we explain this, because we've really stressed her, you know, it's not okay to be touched here in these certain places. And now she's been pat down in a public setting, in an airport, and she was upset and crying. So we had to try to explain this to her. It was very difficult.
I'm sure it was very confusing to her. And yes, we could hear her. She's so well-mannered, and we could hear her saying, yes, ma'am, to the agent. There's a lot of questions as to why you decided to post this on YouTube for others to see, and what is your hope will come of this, Selena?
Well, my reason for posting it was that we just had a very bad feeling that you know, what happened was wrong, and I posted it out there to get other people's opinions on it and to see, you know, to get some other people's thoughts on it. We felt that it was inappropriate. You know, we struggle to teach our child to protect themselves, to say no.
To say no. This is training your child not to say no. That's what the school drills are. They load them on buses, take them to federal centers where they announce that their homeschoolers come to kill them. It's about just training kids to have learned helplessness. Now, originally when this went on the web, it was other sources, and so that's why we thought somebody else shot it, because you can hear other children off camera saying, I don't want them to touch my clothes. I don't want them to touch me there. You can hear it in the audio if you boost it. And then they lead her away for a, quote, drug test. It never really becomes clear what that was. But now we're learning more of what happened here. And I do want to get these parents on the show. Obviously, everybody else in the world is going to be trying to do that who has a media platform. But we're on that today. But we're going to be talking more about this to come. Because if they can get away with this, they can get away with everything. Again, I'm going to repeat this. The state lies and says you got to take vaccines. It's the law. There is no law. It's all color of law fraud. These are criminals. The state takes your baby's blood at birth for almost 40 years. This has been going on since 1972. By the way, it goes on in Australia and England and Europe since the early 1970s. It's global. A global secret program of taking your blood and DNA testing and putting a record of it, and then selling it to Big Pharma, who then patents your unique blood proteins. That's how a lot of this started coming out a few years ago. We, of course, reported on it more than a decade ago. So, I mean, there's an example of who these criminals are, who this system is. They're a pack of lying scum. Why do you think the government's been caught all over the world, our government and others, nerve gassing their own troops, testing radiation, biologicals on their own troops, the UN injecting people with live polio, live syphilis, our own Pentagon doing it, our own Department of Health doing it, in the U.S., in other countries? It comes out every week now, new stuff. They're testing their federal, their state, their jail guards, their jail doctors doing tests in Huntsville, Texas. It comes out. Sometimes lethal stuff. It's to create an army of evil and to see if scientists and government doctors will follow these orders for the, quote, greater good. Then it creates cadres of people that'll keep things secret. And then those armies of evil people go out and recruit others to create even bigger armies of evil. I mean, they kept it secret for decades that the 1959 total meltdown at Simi Valley, Southern California, into L.A., radiated them many times, 200 plus times, ABC News reported, worse than 3 Mile Island. And no one knew for decades. This is a group that practices secrecy. They couldn't keep it secret. The government went ahead and admitted they did it when they felt like it. Kind of like all over the country, they kept it secret. They're using laptops, school laptops to watch kids. Now schools just admit they're watching them at home. It's just like Gulf of Tonkin, kept secret from 1964 to 2004.